We are meant to call from out of the past stories, strange and weird.
Tales of mystery and terror by radio's masters of the macabre.
Stories of the supernatural, the supernormal, dramatized in fantasy, the mystery, the unknown. We tell you this frankly, so if you wish to avoid the excitement and tension of these imaginary plays, we urge you calmly and sincerely to turn off your radio now.
Welcome back to The Horror. Thanks for joining me this Saturday. We'll hear this week from Suspense, a series that aired from 1942 to 1962, produced over 900 original episodes for CBS stations. We'll hear The Yellow Wallpaper this week, their adaptation of a story written in 1892 by Charlotte Gilman. This episode aired July 29th, 1948.
In just a moment, Suspense, starring Agnes Moorehead.
Hi, Hap.
Hello, Ed.
How are things?
Couldn't be better. Except walking 12 blocks to your service station just isn't for me. You got my new spark plugs in?
Just finished putting those brand new Autolite resistor spark plugs in your car. Guess she takes a big load off your arches, eh, Hap?
Sure does. My feet have the pep, but not the pickup. What are you listening to tonight?
Oh, it's Thursday, Hap. I'm listening to the Autolite Suspense show. Never miss it.
Well, here's where I rest my weary bones and listen to Agnes Moorehead.
Hey, Hap, here comes Frank Martin, the Autolite salesman, to join us. Hello, Frank.
Hi, Ed.
Meet Hap Horton.
Autolite spark plugs, batteries, and ignition systems.
The lifeline of your car.
Well, thanks, Mr. Horton, for the assist. And wait until I give you the real lowdown on those brand new Autolite resistor spark plugs Ed just put in your car. Say
it later, Frank. Here comes Agnes Moorehead.
Suspense. Autolite and its 60,000 dealers and service stations bring you radio's outstanding theater of thrills. Starring tonight, Miss Agnes Moorehead, in a tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
Today, everybody's switching to Autolite, and tonight, Autolite takes pleasure in presenting
Anton Leder's production of the famous short story, The Yellow Wallpaper, starring Agnes Moorehead.
I've never seen a worse wallpaper in my life. All those strangled heads and bulbous eyes and fungus growths seem to shriek with derision. When we came to this house, the minute I saw it, I made up my mind secretly to start writing again in spite of them. But I don't dare let John know I'm keeping this journal. It's difficult being married to a doctor. John's an excellent doctor, I'm sure, but he's so inconsistent about me. He says I'm not really sick, that I'm only a little run down from caring for the baby, that I have a temporary nervous depression. Yet he prescribes phosphates or phosphites, I don't know which, and tonics and exercise. And he absolutely forbids me to work until I'm well again. He hates for me to write a word. But writing is such a relief to my mind. I can write down things, tell things here that... No, John says I'm not to brood about those things. I confess they make me feel bad, so I'll only write about the house. I saw it for the first time today. It's the most beautiful place. John rented it for the summer, and we drove up today, a perfect June morning. The bay and the white sails and people already in swimming, and then the shaded lane and the riotous old-fashioned flowers and the gnarly trees and the house. The house standing alone in the summer stillness. I could never tell John, but you know, the house spoke to me. It was only because he rattled on so that I couldn't hear what
Reminded me of those English places you read about. Gardeners, cottages, and everything, and at only $200 a month.
Hedges and walls and gates that lock, and there's a ghostliness.
Remember, I rented it just for you, darling. And you're going to let Jenny do all the work while you live like a prince. You like it, darling? Speak up.
Yes, John. Yes, it's lovely, but it's strange, as though it might be haunted.
Darling, you've got that look on your face again. That dopey look. Well, Jean is home, has a station wagon, and if I know my dear sister, she's already turned the place inside out and cleaned it top to bottom.
John, is it haunted, do you think?
Well, The house?
Uh-huh.
At $200 a month? Well, that's asking too much of Faith. Come on. How about...
You always laugh at anything you can't touch or see or put down in figures. There is something strange about the house. I feel
If you weren't always imagining...
I'm not
things.
imagining. One reason I don't get well is that you don't believe me. You don't even believe I'm sick. You tell my friends and relatives. I've heard you. I've heard you that there's nothing wrong with
There
me.
is nothing wrong
You
with
see, you're saying it
Oh,
again.
I'm sorry. But please don't cry. Now, come along. Let's go inside.
And so I came into this house in tears. It was wrong. It was all wrong. Maybe the house saw me crying, or this room. I got so unreasonably angry with John. I shouldn't, I know. He's so careful and loving, and I repay him so badly. I should control myself, at least in front of him. But it makes me so tired not to show what I feel. Jenny met us at the door. Naturally, she saw I'd been crying, but she took pains to ignore it.
Well, hello, you two. You're early. You must have started at the crack of dawn. How was the trip?
Made it in less than 2 hours.
They're like as peas in a pod, Jenny and John, both efficient and kind.
And how did you bear up, Pet?
Oh, very well, thank you, Jenny. Both kind and both somehow cruel. But I don't really think that.
Well, you're just in time for lunch. I bought a flounder down at the wharf and cooked it with capers and cream. Sound good?
Wonderful, Jenny.
May I see the house first?
The whole grand tour? Oh, Pet, the flounder'll cook to death.
Well, at least my room.
Our room.
All right, if you insist. But if that fish is spoiled, don't blame me.
Why would I blame her?
Whose room is this, Jenny? Yours?
Uh-huh, it's small, but it's near the door and the telephone.
Oh, John, look.
What?
Let's take this one for you and me. I love those roses over the window.
I've already put your things upstairs, Pet.
Well, this has a little porch and such pretty old-fashioned chintz hangings.
Well,
Let's
you'll
take
love the
this.
room upstairs, darling.
And you can see there's no room in here for 2 beds.
And I won't hear of being in separate rooms. I'm going to make you rest and take your tonic.
John and I have talked it all over. And the room at the top of the house has so many windows.
And you know, darling, you must absorb lots of fresh air. Get your appetite back.
They smother me with concern. They crush me with kindness.
Come along. There's a good girl.
All right, you know what's best.
And you're going to like that nursery. It gets loads of sunshine.
Up the steep, narrow stairs, 2 stories up to the very top of the house. There's a gate at the top that locks. I wonder why. And beyond the gate is the nursery room. This room. It is big and airy, nearly a whole floor with windows that look every way. They say it was a nursery. But what was it, really?
Open them all, Jenny. Wide.
All right.
Well, darling?
Why are the windows barred?
For the little children. Otherwise it wouldn't be safe.
Oh, yeah, I suppose. Children climb around so, don't they? What are those rings and things in the walls?
Oh, I expect they made it into a gymnasium when the children got older.
A sort of playground.
How they must have hated the wallpaper.
Well, they were rough on it, that's for sure.
The way they've stripped it off in patches. I don't blame them. It's hideous.
Oh, who wants to look at the wallpaper with this view? My, you can see the whole bay.
It's a revolting color. It's unclean. Such a strange, sickish yellow there where the sun's faded it. I never saw worse paper in my
Don't
life.
dramatize it, darling. You must be hungry, and I know you're tired.
I'm not tired. Why do you both act this way? I say the wallpaper's ugly and you look at each other. Your eyes shuttle back and forth and suddenly you both act as though I'd lost my...
Darling, that was something we weren't going to say.
Be a good girl, Pet. We don't act anyway. We just don't want you to worry. We want you to be well.
It's true, that's all they want. John laughs at me, of course, but one expects that in marriage. And he says I have foolish fancies, and he sometimes can talk them away, but not this time. No matter what he says, it's a smoldering, sulphurous, unclean, it's hideous wallpaper. No wonder the children scratched at it and stripped it down. No wonder they gouged the plaster with their little fingernails. No wonder they hate it. I hate it myself. And somehow, I feel it hates me.
For Suspense, Autolite is bringing you Miss Agnes Moorehead in the yellow wallpaper. Autolite's presentation of radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense.
Say, Ed, isn't she terrific?
Yes, sir. Agnes Moorehead is always terrific.
She sure is. Say, car sure sounds good. I couldn't resist stepping on the starter. And these new Autolite resistor spark plugs sure make this a contented car.
Yep, and you got the first set in town.
Well, right now you can get Autolite resistor spark plugs almost anywhere in the United States. It's sensational. Why, no other spark plug will give and maintain such performance.
Sounds like a good sales story. Where did the name resistor come from, Mr. Martin?
Autolite worked with leading car and truck manufacturers, and they ignition engineered a 10,000 ohm resistor right into the Autolite spark plug. That permits a wider spark gap setting and maintains it far longer than any other spark plugs. Actually, Mr. Horton, when you replace your narrow gap spark plugs with a set of wide gap Autolite resistor spark plugs, you can tell the difference in your car.
That's right from the book, I'll bet, eh, Mr. Martin?
Well, guess so. But here's the simple lowdown. As a result of the wide gap in the resistor spark plug, your engine idles smoother. You have better luck with lean gas mixtures and save gas. And within established limits, you reduce spark plug interference with radio and television reception. Yes, and today you can get the resistor spark plug from almost any of Autolite's 60,000 dealers. That's the biggest spark plug news in years.
And now Autolite brings back to our Hollywood soundstage Miss Agnes Moorehead as star in The Yellow Wallpaper, a tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
We've been here 2 weeks, and I haven't felt like riding again since that first day. I'm sitting by the window now, up in this frightful nursery room. There's nothing to stop my riding as much as I please. John is away all day, and sometimes even at night if he has a serious case. I'm glad my case is not serious. But these nervous troubles can be depressing all the same. I cry at nothing and cry most of the time. John doesn't know how much I suffer. He knows there's no reason to suffer, and that satisfies him. I suppose John was never nervous in his life. He laughs at me so about this wallpaper.
No, I won't let you have your way, you silly goose. If we'd taken the room downstairs, you'd be seeing faces in the chin straights.
Not faces. Look at that spot, John. And that one over there.
Yes, I see. It's a repeating pattern.
It's a broken neck with 2 bulging eyes staring at me upside down.
And to me, it's climbing ivy or some kind of a vine. Take your choice. Could be anything. Besides, I can't repaper a room just for a 3-month rental.
Well, then let's move downstairs. Take me away from her. Don't you see, John? It hates me. I wish I'd get well faster.
Just use your will and your good sense, darling.
I'm afraid.
But you're so much better.
When I married you, I meant to be such a help, but I'm only a burden.
You are a help to me. You're my comfort.
I can't even be with my baby. It makes me so nervous. Will I ever be well enough to see him again?
Of course you'll be well, if you try.
Then I'll try, I promise. From now on, I won't look at the wallpaper, and I'll stop seeing things out of the windows.
Out the windows?
Oh, I see people walking up and down the paths and in the arbors. I know it's silly, and it's only in certain lights when I look at the wallpaper from the bed that I see...
See what?
Nothing. Nothing. No, you're right. There's nothing except a pattern. A front pattern and an under pattern in a different shade of yellow. It dwells in my mind so. I lie on that great immovable bed. It's nailed down, I believe, and follow that pattern about by the hour. And then where it isn't faded and when the sun is just so, I see a strange, faint, formless sort of figure lurking, waiting behind that front design. I don't know why I should write like this day after day. I don't want to. I don't feel able. And I know John would think it absurd, but I must express what I feel and think in some way. It's such a relief. There are things in that wallpaper that nobody knows about but me. You know, there's a woman stooping down and creeping about behind that pattern. Last night it was moonlight, and the moon shines in all around just as the sun does. John was asleep, and I hated to waken him, so I kept still and watched the moonlight on the wall till I felt creepy. The woman behind the paper began to shake the pattern as if she wanted to get out. I got up softly and went and felt the paper to see if it did move. It moved! It moved, I'm sure of it. And the poor woman cried out as though her voice came a long way over water. Telephone! Let me in! Telephone! Let me in! Telephone! Let me in! Oh, the poor thing. Then I went back to the bed. John was awake.
What is it, darling? Why are you up? Well, you shouldn't go walking around like that. You'll catch cold.
The moonlight woke me.
You are cold. You're shivering.
John, I'm not really getting better. Won't you take me away?
Our lease will be up in 3 weeks, darling. I don't see how we can leave before then. Of course, if you were in any danger, I would, but you really are better, dear, whether you see it or not. I'm a doctor, and I know.
Oh, my appetite may be better in the evening when you're here, but it's worse in the morning when you're gone.
Why, you're gaining flesh and
I
color.
don't weigh a bit more, not even as much.
Well, bless your little heart. You shall be as sick as you please. But let's go to sleep, huh? And talk about it in the morning.
You won't go away?
How can I, dear? And why should I, since you're better?
Better in body, perhaps, but
Darling,
in my health.
for my sake and your sake and for the sake of our child, I beg you not to let that idea enter your head, not for an instant. Can't you trust me as a doctor when I tell you it's a false and foolish idea? Answer me, darling. Don't you trust me?
Yes, of course I trust you, only...
What?
I'm sleepy. Let's go to sleep.
But I didn't sleep. I lay there for hours trying to decide if the front pattern and the back pattern moved together or separately. At night, in the moonlight, the front pattern becomes bars, and the woman behind it shakes the bars. Yes, she shakes the bars as she creeps around. I lie down ever so much now. John says it's good for me and to sleep all I can, but you see, I don't sleep. And that cultivates deceit, for I don't tell him I'm awake. Oh, no. Fact is, I'm getting a little afraid of John. He seems very odd sometimes, and it strikes me that perhaps it's the yellow wallpaper. I like this room now, and life is much more exciting than it used to be. I have something more to expect, to look forward to watch. And I really do eat better, and I'm quieter than I was. John is pleased to see me improve.
You see? You're flourishing like a weed in spite of your wallpaper.
Yes. In spite of the wallpaper. In spite of it. Because of it. But I had no intention of telling him that. He might want to take me away, and I don't want to leave now until I found out. There's 1 week more, and I think that will be enough. There's a funny mark on the wall low down near the mopboard. A streak that runs around the room, goes behind every piece of furniture except the bed. A long, straight, even smudge, as if it had been rubbed over and over and over. How was it done? Who did it? What did they do? Round and round. Round and round. Round. It makes me dizzy. I've really discovered something at last. There are a great many women behind the pattern, and sometimes only one, and she creeps around fast, and her creeping shakes the pattern. She's trying to climb through and can't because the pattern strangles everything. But she does get out in the daytime. I know because I've seen her. When a car comes, she hides in the blackberry vines. I don't blame her. I'd hide too. I always lock the door when I creep by daylight. There are only 2 days left to tear this paper off and let the woman out in the room. And John's beginning to take notice. I don't like the look in his eyes, or the way he talks with Jenny about me. I overheard them.
She isn't sleeping nights, Jenny. She's quiet, but I know she's awake.
Well, it's little wonder she sleeps the whole blessed day.
Yeah. Maybe I ought to call in another doctor.
No, it's just stubbornness, John. She's determined to prove you're wrong.
I suppose you're right. Oh, I'm sure she'll improve. Oh, darling.
Well, hello, pet. How you creep about?
Well, that's a funny thing to say, Jenny. It isn't I who creeps.
Jenny says you stay in your room too much. You don't take your exercise.
You tell me to rest and then you tell me to take exercise. I can't do both.
Well,
As though I can't see through them.
tomorrow's our last day here. We'll talk about exercise when I get you back to town.
I'll have to rouse you out of bed pretty early, pet. You know, some of that furniture up there belongs downstairs, and the movers will be here at 9.
Maybe you'll sleep upstairs tonight, Jenny. So you won't be alone, darling.
You won't be here tonight, John?
Well, not until tomorrow evening. There's a difficult case.
If you're going to feel lonesome...
Oh, no, Jenny. I'll rest better alone. I'm sure of it. Thank you all the same. That was clever of me. The sly thing. I won't be alone a bit. As soon as the moon shone in, the poor thing behind the paper began to crawl and shake the pattern. I ran to her. I pulled, and she shook. I shook, and she pulled. And by morning, we'd peeled off yards and yards of yellow wallpaper, a strip about as high as my head and half around the room. When Jenny came up in the morning, she looked at the wall in amazement. You know why I did it, Jenny? Just to spite the vicious thing. Why are you so surprised?
Oh, I'm not. Why, I wouldn't mind doing it myself. But you mustn't tire yourself, pet.
She wouldn't mind doing it.
Why don't you come downstairs and lie down?
How she betrayed herself, that Jenny. She wouldn't mind doing it. But I'm here and no person touches this paper but me. Not alive. I've locked the door and thrown the key down into the front path. I don't want anybody to come in till John comes. I want to surprise him. And I've got a rope up here. Even Jenny doesn't know that. If the woman gets out from behind the pattern and tries to run away, I can tie her securely to one of the rings in the wall. There she is. There, see how the pattern moves, like wallowing seaweeds. Oh, it'll strangle her unless I help. Wait, I'll help you. I'll peel off the paper all I can. Wait, be patient. You push. You push and I'll pull. Oh, it sticks horribly to the plaster. I can get it off with my teeth. Oh, it hurts. But I'm getting it. Wait, just a little bit more. I'm getting it. A little bit more. I wonder if they all came out of the wallpaper, as I did. I think they did, but I have you securely tied by my rope now. You'll never get away. But I don't want to get away. It's so pleasant to be out in this great room to creep about as I please. It's so pleasant. But I suppose I'll have to get back behind the pattern when night comes. That will be hard to do. Well, it's better than going outside. I won't go outside, even if Jenny asks me to. For outside, I have to creep on the ground where everything is green instead of yellow. And here, I can creep smoothly on the floor. Listen, coming now.
Darling, open the door. You hear me? Open the door.
Oh, it's John at the door.
Open the door, darling. Open it, please, dear.
How he does pound and shout. It's no use, Dr. John. You can't open it.
Open it, do you hear me, dear? Open it! Jenny, bring me the axe.
Oh, no, he'll break down that beautiful door. John, dear, the key's down in front of the house under a plantain leaf.
Please, my darling,
It's
please.
down by the front door, John.
Open the door, for heaven's sake, open it.
I can't. The key's downstairs, John. It's under a plantain leaf by the front steps. It's under a plantain leaf, John. Go and see. Go and see. You'll find it if you look. You'll find it. There. He's gone to look. The wallpaper has stopped laughing. The evil thing. Now I can creep slowly, smoothly on the floor. Round and round, round and round and round. And my shoulder just fits into that long smudge on the wall so I can't lose my way. Oh, he's coming back. He's running on the stairs. How astonished he'll be.
Darling. Oh, my dear. My dear, what is it? What's happened?
I've got out at last, John.
Out?
Yes, out in spite of you and Jenny. I pulled down the paper. I shook the pattern and pushed and pulled it down. It stuck horribly. But he'll never put me back. He'll never put me back. You're so pale, John. Why do you close your eyes? You watch. Watch how swiftly I creep around in this lovely yellow room. Fainted? Now why should that man have fainted? But he did. And right across my path by the wall, so that I have to creep over him every time. Round and round and round and round and round.
Thank you, Agnes Moorehead, for a magnificent performance. Miss Moorehead will be back in just a moment.
Oh, what a show. That Agnes Moorehead's really some actress. Well, I guess I better head for home and motherland.
Okay,
Oh, say, Mr. Martin, can you give me those simple words of yours again? My boy Billy pesters me with slogans.
You bet, Mr. Horton. When you replace your narrow gap spark plugs with a set of wide gap Autolite resistor spark plugs, you can tell the difference in your car. For example, your engine idles smoother. You have better luck with leaner gas mixtures and save gas. And within established limits, you reduce spark plug interference with radio and television reception. So, switch to Autolite because Autolite means resistor spark plugs.
Ignition-engineered spark plugs.
Autolite means batteries.
Stay full batteries.
Autolite means ignition system.
The lifeline of your car.
And now here again is Miss Agnes Moorehead.
It's always a great pleasure for me to appear on Suspense. I've thoroughly enjoyed this appearance this evening. And next week, when I turn listener again, I'll join the rest of you to welcome Mr. Charles Lawton's return to these microphones in a role written especially for him. Next week, then, An Honest Man, starring Charles Lawton, on
Suspense.
Agnes Moorehead may soon be seen in the Warner Brothers production, Johnny Belinda. Tonight's suspense play was adapted for radio by Sylvia Richards from an original story by Charlotte Perkins Gilman. Music was composed by Lucien Morawick and conducted by Lud Gluskin. The entire production was under the direction of Anton M. Leader. Next Thursday, same time, you will hear Mr. Charles Lawton in An Honest Man.
This is the Autolite Suspense Show saying good night. Switch to Autolite.
This is CBS, where 99 million people gather every week, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
That's the horror for this week. Hope you enjoyed it. You can find a lot more from Suspense, past episodes of The Horror, thousands of other old-time radio episodes at relicradio.com. Our Shoutcast stream is up and running on the site, and you can donate through the website if you'd like to help support this and all of the radio shows. Click on that link or visit donate.relicradio.com for more information. Your support makes all of this possible. My thanks, as always, to those who have, and thanks for joining me this week. I'll be back next Saturday with a story from Murder at Midnight on another episode of The Horror.
Strange Tales.
RelicRadio.com presents tales of the strange and bizarre, the weird and the wicked. Stories not necessarily of the supernatural, but of the unnatural. Join us now for Strange Tales, featuring radio drama at its most mysterious and unusual. This is Strange Tales. Welcome back. Thanks for joining me this Sunday. Before we get to today's episode, a quick reminder to visit relicradio.com, RelicRadio, for more old-time radio. You'll find past episodes of this show, more from the series you're going to hear from today, our Shoutcast stream, and if you'd like to help support this and all of those shows, click on the donate link or visit donate.relicradio.com. We are 100% listener-supported. Thank you very much to those who have donated, and thanks for helping bring today's episode to us. We're going to hear from the CBS Radio Mystery Theater, their episode from February 8th, 1977, titled The Aurora Group.
The CBS Radio Mystery Theater presents... Come in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. Consider, if you will, the earthworm, one of the lowliest of creatures. If you're an average person, you probably never have thought about an earthworm at all, except perhaps as bait for a fishhook or breakfast for a robin. And yet our lives would be impossible without him or her. Or do earthworms have sex? See? We're not even sure. But unless you had earthworms constantly, ceaselessly boring their holes in the ground, it would be virtually impossible for things to grow. Why, then, are not earthworms hailed and honored by all mankind? Well, whoever said you always get what you deserve in this world?
I love you, darling.
And I've never loved anyone as much as I love you.
I'm so happy. I only hope you're as happy as I am. Are you really happy?
Yeah.
It doesn't sound very enthusiastic.
Darling, I'm happy, except,
What is it, darling?
Well, I have these terrible dreams.
Dreams?
Yeah. Dreams. In which I keep killing you.
Our mystery drama, The Aurora Group, was written especially for the Mystery Theater by Sam Dan and stars Larry Haynes. It is sponsored in part by Buick Motor Division and General Electric. I'll be back shortly with Act One.
The standard engine is a V8. Standard tires, steel-belted radials. There are front and rear stabilizer bars, special springs and shock valving, fast ratio power steering, and a rally steering wheel. What makes all this interesting is that it belongs to a full-size, six-passenger Buick, the 1977 LeSabre Sport Coupe. You'll have to drive it to believe it.
What if you were swept up in disaster? What if your kid were drowning?
Just retracting.
What if your father were dying for blood? And what if nobody cared? Red Cross cares about a lot of things that cost a lot of money. But we think life is worth it, don't you? We're counting on you.
Red Cross is a good neighbor. The good neighbor is you.
Listen and see if you can describe this man in one word. He's a man who comes home and turns on every light in the house. Then he turns on the radio. Now he turns up the heat to 80 degrees and goes down to his shop to use his electric saw. He then comes back to the kitchen to turn on a couple more electric appliances. Now he shaves with his electric razor. Finally, he turns on the TV set and plops himself down. Yes, there's one word to describe people who waste electricity like this. But then, you already know what that word is. For a free booklet that could save you money on your electric heat and light bill, contact Seattle City Light now. Read it and pass it on to anybody who's gobbling up more than his fair share of electricity.
All cats are gray in the dark. So are most people. Gray. Most people are very much like most other people. Work, eat, sleep, have a little fun, or have no fun at all. Get married, have children, get old, die. What a world, huh? Is this what it's all about? Here's a young fellow, maybe 30 or so, works as an office manager. Name's Zachary Taylor Eberhardt. Quiet, industrious. You couldn't say a word against him. He has a nice, quiet wife. They live in a nice, quiet apartment. They lead a nice, quiet life. Now, if you think this story is going to be a little bit too nice and quiet for you, wait.
That you, Zach?
Yeah, I'm home.
Oh, how did it go at the office? Say, you're wearing the new suit.
Yeah. I was leaving the office. The store called, said it was ready to pick up.
Hey, it looks great.
Well, that's when I decided to wear it home.
What did you do with the old one?
Oh, I just left it there. I couldn't stand the sight of it anymore.
Oh, well, I'm glad. I hope you remembered to transfer everything out of the pocket.
Hey, now listen. I'm the one with the memory in this house.
Well, I'm short of change. I need another quarter for the milk machine.
Oh, really? I don't think I have any.
Oh, look in your pocket.
Well, I couldn't have any change, darling. I remember. Wait, I do. Here's a quarter.
You see?
That's all I have.
That's enough. I'll be back in a couple of seconds.
Okay.
Hey, don't drape that new jacket over the chair. Hang it in the closet. Now start treating that new suit right.
Yes, ma'am. Hey, how long till dinner?
Oh, half an hour.
Okay, I'm going to sit down, close my eyes, relax for a few minutes. Oh, I had a rough day.
Well, it wasn't all peaches and cream around here. Look, better not fall asleep. You'll wrinkle those new trousers.
Yeah, okay, I won't. That was the day it began. That was the day of discovery. That was the day that changed my life. Just an ordinary day, a routine day. She went to the milk machine in the hallway of our apartment building, as she had done so many times, countless times in the past. And it was by a fluke, the merest chance that, well, Anyhow, she was back in less than a minute.
Zach!
Huh? What's the matter, Emma? The machine out of milk?
Zach, I was about to put this quarter you just gave me into the machine when I...
Well?
Look at it.
What, is it counterfeit?
I don't know.
Well, Emma, it's just a quarter. What's the problem?
Look at it.
It looks okay.
Closely. The date.
What about the date?
Well, what does it say?
Oh, come on, Emma.
Read the date.
1986, okay?
No, it is not okay.
Why not?
How can it say 1986?
Well, it does, very clearly.
And that's not peculiar.
Well, why should it be peculiar? Hey, wait a minute.
Yes, wait a minute.
Oh, it's got to be a mistake.
Do they make mistakes like that?
Well, I don't know. It's just an ordinary U.S. quarter, except for the date.
Why does it say 1986?
I can't understand that.
After all, it's not going to be 1986 for a long time yet.
I just don't understand. I can't figure it out.
Look, can you remember where you got it?
No.
Well, think. You had to pick up change somewhere today.
No, I didn't. I can remember all the money I handled. I had 4 quarters.
Well, was this one of them?
No, and I'll tell you why. I spent 2 of them on the bus this morning, the other 2 on the bus tonight. And those 4 quarters were all the change I had.
Well, during the day?
Coffee break, it was Johnson's treat. Lunch, I ate at the counter, came to $1.60, and I left $2 bills.
Well, you had to pick it up somewhere.
Well, darling, I had no other change. I know it. Don't you remember when I came home, you asked me if I had a quarter? I said no. And then I found this in my pocket.
Maybe it was in the suit when you got it.
No, it couldn't have been.
Well, how can you be sure?
Well, I took it out of the jacket pocket, and the pocket was still sewed up. The tailor had to slit it open. It was empty.
Then how did the quarter get in there?
Well, I'm sure there's got to be an explanation.
Well, it's kind of scary.
Why?
Well, you're holding a coin there that's got a date almost 10 years away.
Yeah.
Suppose that coin was really minted in 1986.
Darling, how is that possible? It won't be 1986 for at least...
I didn't ask you if it was possible. I asked you, suppose it was.
No, Emma, it wasn't. It couldn't be. It's impossible. Now, why don't we forget it? Forget it. Okay. How do you forget a thing like that? And there's just no way to explain it. After a couple of days, I think she forgot about it. I mean, she got all excited over it in the beginning, but that's Emma. After a while, other things come up. And she just goes on to something else. But it kept bothering me. So one day, on my lunch hour, I noticed this little shop. R.V. Zoltan. Coins.
Yes?
Sir, I have this coin here. I'd like you to look at it.
Yes?
Well?
Interesting.
Yeah, I thought so.
This is a Washington 25-cent piece. They were first struck in 1932, the bicentennial of Washington's birth. The obverse is the face of George Washington.
Yes, I know that.
The reverse is the spread eagle.
Yes, but tell me.
Originally, and until 1963, they were made of silver.
Yeah, what I want to know, sir...
Now, however, they consist of a copper-silver alloy.
Yeah, well, is it counterfeit?
Oh, no, never. This is from the Denver Mint, I can tell.
But, the date.
What about the date?
Well, read it.
I read it.
That's all you can say?
What do you want me to say? This coin was minted in 1986.
How can you say it was minted in 1986?
Yes, interesting point. Should I say, it will be minted in 1986? But it exists.
Well, could there have been a mistake at the mint?
No.
Why not?
We would know about it.
Well, then what are you telling me?
I'm telling you, you have a coin from 1986.
Well, how is that possible?
That is not my field. Possibilities. I am an expert only in numismatics. Now then,
I suppose you wish to know the value of this 25-cent piece?
Well, I would imagine it would be worth...
A fortune? I'm sorry. Right now, all I could offer is the face value less 20%, which is my normal commission.
But a coin from the future?
A coin from the future is worthless. Only a coin from the past.
But sir...
You see, value is based on rarity. Since I do not know how many 25-cent pieces will be struck in 1986, I cannot assign any true worth
But it
to
would
this.
seem to me that...
How did you happen to come into possession?
I don't know.
Forgive me. I have no right to ask that question. Unless, of course, you wish to sell it.
Sell it?
Well, isn't that why you came in here?
Well,
I'm sorry. You thought it might be worth a fortune. If only you know how many bubbles it is my misfortune to burst.
He said more. A great deal more. But I wasn't listening. Where did that quarter come from? How did it get into my pocket? I felt completely up against a wall because there was no place to go, nobody to ask. If it was something in my mind, I could see a doctor, a psychiatrist. But here was the quarter. The quarter from almost 10 years in the future. The physical, actual quarter. Who could get around that? How could I get around that? And then, when I got home, another problem.
Zach!
Huh? What is it?
Didn't you check through that new suit when you got it?
Well, sure.
No, you didn't. I was hanging it away for you when I noticed a stain on the sleeve. Look.
Oh.
Oh, that's right. Oh. You let them sell you a suit with a stain on it.
Well, darling, I didn't notice any
That's
stain.
because you never looked.
Emma, this is the first time I ever spent so much money on a suit. You can bet I looked.
Well, meanwhile, the stain is here.
Well, I got off the bus, I went into the store, I put on the suit, and I walked home. It's only 3 blocks. There's no way for that stain to get on there. When I got home, I changed clothes before dinner.
Well, are you going to let them get away with it?
Get away with what?
People can do anything to you. And you just take it.
Now, just a minute. I'm bringing the suit back tomorrow.
It's a coffee stain.
A coffee stain?
No doubt about it. Did you stop off on the way home for a cup of coffee, maybe?
No.
Are you sure?
The stain must have been in the suit when I bought it.
That may be. Anyway, we'll take it out.
Yeah, well, look, Mr. Plotz, it's just that when I buy a brand new suit,
Think no more about it. It's a very light stain.
Yeah, well, do the best you can, huh?
This is funny.
What's funny?
It's an old stain.
Old?
How can it be an old stain? It's a new suit. See how the stain has set and faded?
Well, it just looks like a stain to me.
It's black coffee. Also has picked up over the years.
Over the years? But it's a new suit.
The suit is new. The stain is old.
Well, how can that be?
I don't know. I'll take out the stain. I'll remove it. You'll never know a stain even existed.
Well, how did it get there?
That must remain a mystery.
Well, yeah, but...
Life is so full of mysteries. Will one more hurt anybody?
Well, now, look, I'm entitled to know how my new
Believe me, I would tell you.
Well, are you satisfied?
Yes. I'm satisfied.
I left the suit at the store. If I'd been feeling peculiar before, it was nothing at all to the way I was feeling now. Something was happening, something was taking place, and it was inside my mind. For the life of me, I couldn't understand what it was. When I got home, I got the scare of my life the minute I saw Emma. Emma!
What is it? Zach, what is it?
Well, your hair. What did you do to your hair?
My hair? Nothing. What would I do to my hair?
Well, it's gray. Your hair is gray, and your face.
What are you talking about?
Just look in the mirror. Here, come over here.
Zach, what's the matter with you? There is nothing different about my hair.
Yeah, but just before...
And my face? What's different about my face?
I don't know.
What made you say my hair was gray?
Well, for a minute, it looked... maybe it was the way the light struck it.
The light.
Yeah, the light. It can play tricks on your eyes.
Zach, are you all right?
Yeah, I'm all right.
I think you're working too hard. You better see a doctor.
You're working too hard. You better see a doctor. How often do wives say that? If you had $1 for each time, you'd be rich beyond all dreams. But even though you'd be fabulously wealthy, you'd still be curious to know what was going to happen in Act 2. Well, join the rest of us here in just a few minutes.
Hi there. It's time to play the Bob and Ray Radio Fun Game, 30 Seconds, Please. Our next contestant's already picked his subject from the rotating barrel. Would you read the word on that paper, sir?
It's rebates.
All right. Talk on rebates for 30 seconds.
Well, the only rebate I know is GE rebate days.
General Electric rebate days? Time out. Judges, can he? He can. Okay, time in.
GE rebate days. Till March 12th, GE will send rebates of $2, $3, or $5 to the purchases of GE digital clocks, Pro Pistol hair dryers, coffee makers, toaster ovens, smoke alarms, 57 items. The amount depends on the product purchased.
Well, you didn't talk a full 30 seconds.
I have more. $3 or $4 rebates on GE tape recorders with two-way power and $4 on all GE digital clock radios with snooze alarm and wake to music features. 27 models in all.
Time's up, sir, and you've done it. Congratulations. Tonight you leave by jet for Tierra del Fuego on your Bob and Ray one-way vacation trip.
Do I have to?
I bought me a Ford the other day. I was pleasantly surprised. The dealer was so good to me. I found that I've been sound-eyed.
Right now, Sound Ford in Renton is having their annual January inventory adjustment sale, so get on down to Sound Ford today, where you'll find some of the best buys of the year.
Get yourself sound-eyed. Get yourself sound-eyed.
Sound Ford in Renton. We still got a better idea.
Preview the day you're waking up to. Don't be caught off guard by something unexpected. This is Bill Yend inviting you to join me and keep in touch with Cairo News Radio 7. Catch up on local or national events with the Cairo News Radio team. Chris Curtis has traffic reports during the morning rush. Harry Wappler keeps you in touch with the weather, and Stan Marks puts in his analysis of the day's stock market. For the latest news in your world, traffic, weather, or the financial scene, keep in touch weekday mornings from 5:30 to 9:30 with Cairo News Radio 7.
We're dealing here with a set of circumstances, a juxtaposition, as it were, of the old and the new. We have a coin from a date that is still in the future. We have a stain that is years old on a suit that is brand new. Ordinarily, we could say that the person to whom it is all happening is, hallucinating. But the problem is, he has witnesses.
You can get an attack of fever, but what you cannot do is live at fever pitch indefinitely. Okay, the coin from 1986, the stain on the suit. Mysterious, it's puzzling, it's even frustrating, but life has to go on. So the weeks went by, the months, maybe even a year. I forgot all about the coin. And as far as the suit was concerned, well, by now it was a suit that I wore without thinking about. And then one day...
Zach?
Yeah?
Aren't you home early?
Yeah, I guess so.
Anything happened at the office today?
Yeah. I got fired.
Oh, that's nice. What? What did you say?
I got fired.
What? But out of a clear blue sky.
Out of a clear blue sky.
What did you do?
I didn't do a thing.
Well, you must have done something.
No, I arrived at the office, hung up my hat and coat.
Oh, Zach, tell me what happened.
And Mr. Bistany called me into his office.
What did he say?
He said, "You're fired."
But without any reason.
And he said, "I'm fired, too, if it'll make you feel any better."
Why was he fired?
We're all fired, every last one of us.
Why? Well, you can't fire everybody in the company.
There is no longer a company.
What do you mean? There's no longer...
It's finished, ended, over and done with.
Will you please make sense?
Does any of it make sense? I gave this company 9 years of my life, 9 of my best years. I thought I was building a future. I thought I had someplace to go. And where was it? The scrap heap.
But what happened?
Did you ever hear of the Aurora Group?
No.
The Aurora Group. You never heard of it? It never heard of you either. And yet it has altered the entire course of your life.
You still didn't tell me what happened.
Somewhere in Chicago, Illinois, 1,000 miles from here, there's a group of men, maybe women too, and they play Monopoly. Only it's with real money and for real business. And they say, let's buy Taylor and Cornwell.
Well, that's your corporation.
And then they say Taylor and Cornwell have a marketing division called NOLA Research. Let's get rid of it.
But why?
Look, here. Shh. Right here. On this table is a fly.
Zach.
Shh. Don't make a sound. You'll frighten them. Now, just let me roll up this newspaper.
Would you please?
Shh. Now, watch this. There. I got him, you see?
Look, Zach, we were talking about something important.
You don't understand it. This fly, he was minding his own business, right? He was doing what he always does. And in that last split second, when he felt that awful rush of wind, he knew he was going to be killed. Killed before he could even make a move to save himself. Did he know why he was going to be killed? Now, you can say he was killed because he was a pest.
Zach, I don't know what to say to all this.
But the fly, he doesn't know he's a pest.
You haven't answered my question.
Oh, yes, I think I have. The Aurora Group got rid of NOLA Marketing for the same reason I slapped the fly. It's a pest, okay?
But to do a thing like that...
Do you think business operates on generosity and kindness, consideration for other people? No. Every eye turns to the bottom line, the almighty dollar, the basic buck. 9 years. In 9 years, I never missed a day. First to arrive, last to leave.
Well, you can get another job.
Is that how you dismiss my 9 years?
Zach, life goes on.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny you should put it that way.
Now, what did I say?
That's how you talk after a funeral about somebody who died. It's as if I died.
But why don't we just go out tonight? Have dinner, see a show, go dancing.
Oh, sure. Look at what we've got to celebrate.
Oh, Zach, you're only 34 years old. It isn't the end of the world. You'll get another job.
You keep saying that.
It's true.
You know what I said just before? Well, maybe I did just get back from a funeral.
Zach, I think we'd just better stop this kind of talk.
A part of me died, Emma. A part of me died with NOLA Marketing.
The worst thing a wife can say at a time like this is, I told you so.
And why say it?
Because maybe it'll teach you a lesson. I always said you just can't give so much of yourself to your work.
Oh, yeah, you said it, and I'll give you full credit. And believe me, it'll never happen again. From now on, I'm strictly a 9-to-5 guy. I could tell you more about how things went that day, but why? I was feeling sorry for myself, and I was right. Well, but how much do you want to hear about other people's troubles? Besides, I haven't even gotten to the real troubles yet. I found another job after a while. It didn't pay as much as my old one. But as Mr. Stebbins said when he hired me...
Your salary around here will depend on what you can show us, Mr. Eberhard. Advancement is quick and the money keeps up with it. Provided a man has got the stuff.
Sure. I'd heard that before. Well, Mr. Stebbins, for me, you get just what you pay for and not another penny's worth more.
Hi, what'll it be?
Tea.
Okay, I'll pour you a cup of coffee.
Wait a minute. I said tea.
You're kidding. Did you say tea?
Yeah, that's what I said.
You know what that proves? It proves we just don't listen. I mean, the average person comes in here wants coffee, so I try to beat him to the punch. Oh, here, let me spill that out.
No. It's all right. Yeah, maybe I will have coffee today.
Oh, look, you don't have to have
once
coffee.
every 10 years, I guess I can enjoy a cup.
No, let me take it from you. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, did you get any of that on you?
No, it's all right.
Look, whenever we spill anything in this place, the boss says to tell the customer the dry cleaning is on us.
No, it's okay. It's not very much of a stain. It'll come out.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I never saw you in here before. You work in the building?
Yeah, I started yesterday.
Oh, well, don't be a stranger.
Her name was Stella. She had that real dark, jet black hair. Black hair and black eyes. I mean, shiny, sparkling black eyes. Altogether, she was something to look at. So I looked at her. And I can honestly say it was the first time in the 9 years I was married that I ever looked at another girl. I mean, looked. And I could tell she liked me, too. But I wasn't the kind who fools around. That kind of thing leads into more trouble than you can handle. Anyhow, that's what I told myself at the beginning. Meanwhile, I was getting settled in on the new job.
Zach?
Yes, Mr. Stebbins?
Sit down. The Anderson contract. You remember it?
Yes, sir.
And you checked it out?
I did.
Thoroughly?
I pride myself that I do my work thoroughly, Mr. Stebbins.
The figure was $130,000. Do you remember?
Yes.
Didn't it strike you that $130 was rather low for all the services we would have to provide?
Yes, sir. Very low.
And why didn't you say so?
Well, it wasn't my job, Mr. Stebbins. I was required only to examine the basic research elements and requirements. I was not asked to examine the budget.
But surely it would go without saying that budgetary considerations would come into it.
Well, the proposal was prepared by my immediate superior, George Wood. That was his figure. It may have been part of a strategic plan of his own, and I wasn't going to get into a battle with him over it.
We don't battle with each other in this outfit. We work together.
Yes, sir.
As it happens, the 130 was a typographical error. It should have been 230. Now, in the future, Zach, don't be afraid to be independent. Or aren't you that type of guy?
I used to be that type of guy, Mr. Stebbins. But I've learned. Sure, I could have taken that proposal home and burned hours of midnight oil over it. I could have turned it into a real moneymaker for this company. But why? So it could be taken over by the Aurora Group, and I'd be out in the cold again? You know the old saying, Mr. Stebbins. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
Zach.
What is it?
Well, it's stew, if you must know. It's about all we can afford every night for supper. And the meat in it gets smaller and smaller and less. You've simply got to earn more money.
Now, look, Emma, I have no illusions about my job. They promised me the moon when I took it. Those companies, they're all alike.
Zach, maybe it's you.
Me? What's the matter with me?
Well, you look as if you don't care anymore.
Well, how can you say that?
Your appearance. You used to be so neat, so orderly. Now you wear the same suit all the time. It's even got a stain on it.
Now, what difference does it make?
Well, I'll have to go out and get a job.
Go ahead.
I'm not really trained to do anything. All I studied in school was art.
Look, I don't feel too good. I think I'll lie down and take a nap.
Hi.
How are you, Stella?
Oh, me? I'm great. Oh, what's the matter, Zach?
It's a long story.
Well, I got all day.
I guess it has a real corny, cliche beginning.
Oh, like once upon a time?
No, more like, my wife doesn't understand me.
Oh, I hear those stories all the time.
Well, then I won't bother you with mine.
Oh, no. To yours, I'd listen.
Oh?
I, get off at 5, so maybe we could go somewhere.
You have to understand, I had to talk to somebody. I wasn't out for love or sex or any of the rest of that. That came later. Just to be with a girl who didn't keep nagging at me, who just was quiet and soft and understanding, especially understanding, who really knew what I was talking about when I mentioned the Aurora Group.
Oh, yes, I know. My aunt, my father's sister, she's very old country, very superstitious, which doesn't mean she's wrong. Now, the Aurora Group is Mephistoff, the angel of evil.
The angel of evil.
Any man who wishes to succeed challenges him, and therefore that person must be struck down, as you were.
Oh. You know something? I believe you.
Oh, so do I. But we'd better not tell anybody. They'd think we're crazy.
They're crazy. Crazy to think they can beat what's his name?
Mephistoff.
Mephistoff.
But if you don't bother him, he won't bother you.
You may ask if that's how things had progressed between Stella and me. Why didn't I get a divorce? Well, religiously, it was impossible. Emma didn't believe in it, and neither did Stella's husband. He was a merchant sailor, and he was away for months at a time. But Emma was around. Actually, she was doing very well. She had gotten herself a job with a large, important art and antiques gallery. She was doing very well.
I got a raise.
Oh, really?
Mr. Fenris says they've had eyes on me, and I can go places.
Well, look out you don't irritate Mephistopheles.
Who?
Skip it.
Are you still wearing that same suit?
Well, I can't afford another one.
Well, I'm making more money now.
No, thank you.
Why don't you ask for a raise?
If I do, they'll fire me. I'm stuck away in a neat little cubbyhole.
Well, then get another job.
It's the same thing everywhere.
I don't want to start that thing all over again. Besides, I have work to do.
Oh, bringing work home? I see you didn't learn.
Look at this. Beautiful.
All right, what's it supposed to be?
What does it look like?
Well, it looks like a dagger.
It's a fine Damascened Florentine dagger. Here, you can read the information. On the tag. I brought it home because there's some spots to be cleaned.
What kind of information is this?
I'll read the tag. It has all the history.
Well, it says on this tag, Exhibit A.
Exhibit A. Let's see. That's how the various things are marked for a trial. Exhibit A, Exhibit B, and so on. Exhibit A is usually the murder weapon. Murder weapon? What murder weapon? What murder? Are you thinking what I'm thinking? Well, I'm thinking we'd all better be here for Act 3 in just a few minutes.
The 1977 Buick Regal. It comes with Buick's terrific V6 engine. It carries 6 people and lots of Buick comfort. It's lean, it's maneuverable in city traffic. It's the most luxurious mid-sized car Buick builds. Yeah, this new Regal is pretty much everything a car should be, except for one thing. It isn't yours yet, but it can be. Just see a Buick dealer for a test drive soon.
Dedicated to the free spirit, just about everyone.
This is Polly Bergen. I recently witnessed a demonstration of cardiovascular pulmonary resuscitation, CPR. The American Heart Association wants everybody to learn CPR. It only takes a few hours to do so. If most of us know CPR, thousands of lives may be saved each year. Won't you call the American Heart Association and ask about CPR? Support your American Heart Association. We're fighting for your life.
Bob Mesistrano's Highline Furniture at 13424 First Avenue South is a Cairo Price is Right store. You can save on prices and win prizes by registering for the Price is Right contest heard daily with Gary Christensen on Cairo Contact. And listen to some of these savings at Bob Mesistrano's. Chime clocks, $39.95. Early American sofa and love seat with the Herculon cover by Elite of California, both pieces, $577. Broyhill modern dining room set with 6 caneback chairs and walnut finish table, $477. Modular Pit living room group with Herculon cover, your choice of corner piece, armless piece, or ottoman, $68 each. Look for the Cairo Price is Right tags on the complete stock of Stifel lamps, reduced by 20%, the lowest prices since 1974. Bob Mesistrano's Highline Furniture at 13424 First Avenue South, open daily till 6, Friday till 8, and Saturday till 6.
We are looking at a beautifully damascened Florentine dagger, the work of an outstanding Renaissance craftsman. Emma Eberhardt, who works for a large art and antiques gallery, has brought it home to be cleaned. Zachary Eberhardt looks at the tag attached to the dagger, and instead of reading the history of the weapon, all he sees is a notation that says, Exhibit A.
What do you mean, Exhibit A? I typed that tag myself.
Well, Emma, read it. It says Exhibit A.
It says nothing of the sort. Look, 16th century dagger, believed to be the work of Casarello.
But, Emma, when I looked at that tag just before, it distinctly said Exhibit A.
Well, it must have been your imagination.
No, it was printed in big letters.
So where is it now?
I don't know, but it was there.
Well, then what happened to it? Why should you see something like that?
Now, don't cross-examine me.
Why don't you see a doctor?
Look, I'm not a nut.
Where are you going?
Out.
What's her name?
Whose name?
Whoever it is you're going to see.
I'm just going for a walk.
Why don't you see Dr. Salmon?
What for?
You're coming apart.
I'm all right.
Oh, Zach, it's been 5 years since you lost that job with Nola.
You mean since that Aurora group destroyed Nola?
Business is business. You've got to get hold of yourself. Look, what happened to that coin?
What coin?
Don't you remember? 5 years ago, you found a quarter. It was dated 1986.
Oh, yeah.
Well, 1986 is still years away. What did you do with it?
Well, I spent it.
You spent it?
Yeah, I dropped it in a slot somewhere.
But, Zach!
It wasn't worth anything. I took it into a coin expert.
Then it's gone.
Yes, it's gone.
Well, Zach, somehow I feel that everything that's happened to you since then is tied up somehow with that quarter.
What happened to me was I got sandbagged by the Aurora group. That's what happened to me.
Well, I made an appointment for you with Dr. Salmon. Please, Zach, please keep it.
Now, let's straighten this whole business out at the start, Doctor. I don't believe in this entire psychiatry thing. I think it's a waste of time.
Why did you come?
Well, otherwise my wife would have made me miserable.
Your wife told me your problem.
Yeah, I'll bet she did.
She said you had suffered a terrible disappointment.
Oh, really?
You had worked wholeheartedly for a certain company that was suddenly taken over by some conglomerate, and that was the end of it. Is that true?
Well, that part of it is true.
And since then, you've gone completely to pieces.
No, I'm just playing it smart, not giving anybody else a chance to use me and throw me away.
But don't you think...
Don't I think what? That I ought to pull myself together and make a fresh start and... No, look, I get that lecture from her. Do I have to get it from you, too?
I won't lecture you at all. I will merely say you must choose. Choose between a vigorous life and a living death. Mr. Eberhard. Mr. Eberhard. Why are you looking at me like that?
Why was I looking at him like that? When I first walked into the office, he had a mustache. And now, he had a beard. And he looked a great deal older. And we weren't in the office at all.
Dr. Salmon, you have seen the defendant in the past as a patient.
That is correct.
And what was your impression?
A rightly disturbed person.
In what way?
To be as brief as possible, there are those people who simply cannot cope with the pressures of society. When they meet with severe disappointment or defeat, it becomes a psychological blow from which they never recover.
But why should this have made the defendant kill his wife? Dr. Salmon? Dr. Salmon?
Mr. Eberhard. Mr. Eberhard.
What?
You seem to be in another world.
Dr. Salmon, do you intend to grow a beard?
Yes. How did you know?
Well, you should. Because you look very good.
Mr. Eberhard, I'm trying to help you.
No, that can't be done.
Why?
I just saw it, so no one can help me.
What did you just see?
The future.
Well, how can a person see
Now, don't waste time with that. I've seen it. I just realized I've been seeing it all along.
What you're saying is an impossibility.
No, I'm sure. But that doesn't mean it can't be done. I see the future. It's revealed to me in little flashes, tiny clues. Here, look, I get a coin, a 25-cent piece with a date far in the future. I get a brand new suit that has a stain on it. A stain that it's not supposed to pick up until years later. I see a dagger with the words Exhibit A on it. I see a flash of my wife with white hair. I see you with a beard testifying at a murder trial. My trial.
Your trial?
Yes, I can see myself, the prisoner in the dock. Well?
Well, obviously.
Hallucinations. That's what you were going to say, huh?
Yes.
And that's how you intend to help me, by trying to prove it's all in my imagination?
Where else can it be?
Well, that's great for you. You want to help me on your terms. Help me on mine. I'm headed for a future where I murder my wife and stand trial. Can you stop that future?
Why do you want to murder your wife?
I don't.
Surely you must have a reason.
No, not at all.
Another woman?
No, I can't marry her anyway, which means Emma isn't in the way.
But doesn't Emma object?
No. Emma is holding hands with this Fenris guy at the gallery.
Maybe you'd want to kill her for that.
No, I don't care that
You
much.
envy her success. She's rising in the world. She's going to be made manager at the gallery.
No, it doesn't mean a thing to
And
me.
yet you insist you're going to kill her.
No, I don't insist on anything. All I know is what I saw in the future.
What do you think you saw in the future?
Oh, Doctor, have it your way. All I know is I'm going to kill her. I haven't the faintest idea why.
Well, then...
Let me say that I can't imagine why. It goes against my entire grain. I'm not a killer, but I'm going to do it. And there's no way to stop it. I've seen the future. I decided to get out of here. How could I kill Emma if I wasn't around? And so, I decided to drop out. Just disappear. And I did. There was no point in saying goodbye to Emma, who probably wouldn't even notice it. And I didn't feel strong enough to say goodbye to Stella. So, the next morning, I just got on the bus, and I kept riding. I went from town to town, from job to job. Things went from bad to worse. I just couldn't get set anywhere. And that went on for almost 6 or 7 years. Not that I was keeping track, but one day, I looked at a calendar, and it was July 1986. And I knew I was going home, to where she was. I just couldn't fight it anymore. I didn't even know what I was fighting. And I had absolutely no desire to kill her. Well, what would be, would be.
Zach! Oh, Zach, honey!
Hello, Stella.
Oh, Zach. Zach, what's happened to you?
Nothing?
Oh, you look so...
Seedy?
Why did you disappear?
Well, that's a long story.
But you won't do it again. Oh, honey, you'll stay with me.
If you'll have me.
Oh, Zach. Darling, I never loved anyone but you.
Yeah, I can't understand.
What?
I have absolutely no reason in the world to want to kill her.
Oh, don't talk about killing.
And yet, if you listen to the scientists...
Well, don't listen to anybody.
No, like Einstein. You see, I studied about this, Stella. Do you know the future has already happened?
Oh, honey, what you need is a lot of sleep. Come on, how can the future have already happened?
Now, Einstein's theory says the past, present, and future are all intermingled.
Oh, honey, you don't want to bother your head with that. Believe me. Look, I'll tell you what. I'll close early. It's 4 now. Let's see. Give it another 15 minutes. I own it now. We'll do just great. Look, you drink this nice hot cup of tea, and I'll have to check out the register and read the paper, huh?
Yeah, all right.
There's news about your wife in it.
Emma?
Yeah, Section 2. Her picture and everything. She's become pretty big since you've been gone.
Well, that's the way she wants it. Section 2 where?
Oh, bottom of the page. You see your picture? I didn't read the story. What does it say?
Mrs. Emma Eberhardt, Managing Director of the Allenby Galleries.
Managing Director? Oh, that isn't bad.
Has just been named a Vice President and member of the board of the parent company, the Aurora Group. Mrs. Eberhardt is the first woman to become a top executive of this vast conglomerate. The Aurora Group. The Aurora Group.
Zach, what is...
Mephistoph.
Who?
Well, you should know Mephistoph.
Zach!
She is a member of Mephistoph, the Aurora Group. She has become one with those who destroyed me.
Oh, Zach, forget it.
Now, I wonder if she's home. I'm going to call her. I want to congratulate her. I don't have any money. Let me have a quarter.
Zach, look, why
Just give me a quarter, huh?
Oh, sure, Zach. Here.
Thank you. Hey, that's a nice, brand new, shiny 1986 quarter. Oh, my Lord. My good Lord. She isn't home. Here's the quarter. That's why I needed the quarter.
Zach, where are you going?
I knew where I was going. To the gallery. To the gallery that was owned by the Aurora Group. The Aurora Group, which slowly but surely was taking over everything and everybody.
Zach, what are you doing here? Where have you been?
I tried to stay away because I didn't want to kill you.
Zach.
But you became one of them. You're a member of the Aurora Group.
Well, I'll have to ask you to leave.
Here it is on this tabletop. This beautifully damascened Florentine dagger. Do you see? See how it was ordained? How it was meant to be?
Zach, what are you doing? Help!
Nothing can help you. No one. You joined them. You became a part of them. I always wanted to kill them, and I can do it by killing you. Your face. It's the face of Memphis. And now, Mephistoff is dead. I killed her. I killed the Aurora Group.
Well, he didn't. Not really. The Aurora Group is still around, bigger, richer than ever. But just as every man has his price, every man can have his motive. And if you think you're not the type who could kill, well, it all depends on the game and the stakes, doesn't it? More about the game in just a few minutes.
Parents, your child will learn to read more quickly if you help him to observe and be aware of his surroundings. Here's a way to help him do this while having fun at the same time. Have him draw a map of the room he is in. Explain what a map is and that it's used for helping people find things or places. Tell him to put in the chairs, windows, doors, tables, stoves, or anything else there that he thinks is important. He can also see how big the room is by measuring with his own feet. If he can't count that high yet, you should help him. He can then draw maps of other rooms or of the whole house. Don't worry if the objects are out of proportion. He's learning by doing. And with practice and your gentle guidance, he's learning about spatial relationships. Listen for the New Approach Method, reading hints to parents, furnished as a public service by this radio station. For other ways you can help your child, write New Approach Method Incorporated, Post Office Box 1303, Trenton, New Jersey, 08607.
There are those who insist that society is also responsible for our crimes. And there's a considerable body of evidence to prove it. After all, we insist on winner take everything. We make it intolerable to be a loser. Our cast included Larry Haynes, Ann Williams, Bryna Rayburn, Joe DeSantis, and Leon Janney. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. And now, a preview of our next tale.
We've thought of everything. Everything except that we won't be able to communicate with you on the surface in case of trouble.
Well, that is true. It's the one thing we'd like to do, but we can't.
I understand. Once we start down, we'll be free-floating, entirely on our own.
For the next 6 months, you two will go through the most intensive training possible in handling the sphere. I wish I were young enough to see for myself firsthand the things you're going to see.
Have you any idea? Like what?
No, not exactly. But there have to be things down there that no living man has ever experienced. Things that go beyond the wildest dreams of our imagination. Sam, Star, the day has come when man, through you, is about to probe some of the darkest mysteries of the universe.
Radio Mystery Theater was sponsored in part by General Electric and Buick Motor Division. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams.
That's our Strange Tale for this week. If you want to hear more from the CBS Radio Mystery Theater and everything else Relic Radio, don't forget to visit the website, relicradio.com. And be sure to join us again next week for another episode of Relic Radio's Strange Tales.